I was in a downside for quite a few years. I had lost my last job. I had looked for a job for 3 years plus and been unable to find one. I think when you reach a certain age, regardless of what is said, they look at you as old. And I don't look at myself as old. And so there was that, and that's what ended me up in the shelter because I could no longer pay my bills.
The situation I am in right now, because the reason is that I used to work before, and I lost my job, and right now I fell into diabetes. I felt sick. The reason I'm here is just to come to get help, because I really do need help. I'm in the shelter right now. I'm staying right now in St. Vincent.
It was a lot of the drugs and alcohol, medical reasons. I have a seizure disorder, depression, anxiety. I was living with a friend, and he was selling drugs at the time, and his house got, it was like a home invasion at 4 o'clock in the morning. I got hit in the head with a gun, and I just couldn't live like that. So I decided to stay out in the street for about a week, and then I went to the shelter. And they accepted me in, and I'm grateful for a place like that.
I had a beautiful home in Cheshire. My husband and I grew apart because of physical problems, a heart attack. I had cancer a few times, lost a child, and just kind of grew apart. So house was sold, and the money that we did get, I kind of got it, spent it. And now I need privacy, looking for a place to stay.
Everybody shouldn't be stereotyped because everybody's in there for different situations. First and foremost, domestic violence, probably being evicted from their apartment for whatever known reason. People that in general maybe coming out of, just bad situations and just need a place to stay until they can get back on their feet.
As mayor, I think it's our job, and my job in particular, to provide leadership to find ways to help out with the homeless situation and have a plan, which is something that we really need to develop and continue to look at. But I think one of the things that United Way is really focusing on is the prevention of homelessness. And I'm very pleased to be a part of that, because I think if we can get it early, nip it early on, and understand why folks are homeless or choose to be homeless and provide the necessary services to those folks, we can make a big difference in their lives, and most importantly, the lives of their children.
What's so important about the 10-year plan is that it's really a strategic plan for our community to come together to really work on these efforts to end homelessness, and to really help some of the most fragile individuals in our community. And what I also think is really important about the 10-year plan is the prevention side of it. There are 5 strategic areas, with now another additional area focusing on youth, so really 6 areas. But there is a prevention side, so we can really help families before they go at that tipping point of losing their home and losing their place where their family is in a safe place.
Really, it's stressing. It's stressful to be homeless because you don't sleep. If you ever had comforts of home life, whether it be raised by a family, that's not there anymore. You want to sleep at night, you're not really getting that, because you might stay at a shelter like I do, and there might be other people who don't believe in sleep, or I don't know why they're there, but you try to figure out why you're there in the shelter, and it's and then you got to deal with the way people look at you, because inside your heart, I'm homeless. I'm living rough. I don't eat the way I want to. Well, eating's never really been a problem. It's just been really sleeping, and of course storing your stuff is another problem. Like, I got my backpack on my back, and it's ripping, and then you're thinking, what did it take to get this backpack? And where am I going to get another backpack? Because, you don't, I guess you can try to apply for financial aid, but I never went that route. I'm 26 years old. I'm a veteran. I used to work in this building I worked here for a couple years as a National Guard soldier. I was a chemical operations specialist, light infantry.
But being a good girl, I finished my high school in cosmetology and lubrication, and I married a man who hit me so much, he turned this nose to the other side. He died from cancer because he drinks a lot. I have a son from him. It's the biggest one, Jose. And then I stay alone, and I marry again, and I've been married 34 years. But we had home in Puerto Rico, we have everything, and we came to Connecticut where my biggest son was married, and he left me. So I've been 3 years alone, because my two sons threw me out of the house. So I was looking for a home. They gave me a room, and there I'm starting to get again up. No bed, no furniture, but I'm getting onto that.
It was very hard for somebody that's always taking care of herself, always had everything, but through trials and storms, lost everything. So it was hard for me to come here today. It's really hard for me for somebody that's always worked. I'm pending disability right now, so it's very hard. But throughout the day, I try to maintain and, just stay around good, positive people and just do what I have to do until it's time for me to go back in there at the end of the day.
I tell everybody about the hospitality center because, the little things is more important than the big things. To keep up your upkeep, to wash it behind, to have a place to think, and to take that big caseload of worries off for a few minutes, it helps. My legs do not work on me, right? Disabled. I go to dialysis 3 days a week, just like I said. To after you get off that machine and into where you gotta worry where you're gonna lay your head down. Just to recoup from that machine I can't explain it to you.
One day I'm downtown going through my daily routine as far as going to the state office and stuff like this here. I seen Annie walking up the street. I said, wait a minute, I know this lady. She got a brand new car. Why is she walking? And she came up to me. She says, Darren, I've been trying to catch you. I said, why? What happened? She said, well, we need you to come up here and have a meeting with Mr. Brian Gibbons. We found you a place. For 3.5 years, for like 2.5 years, trying to fight through the red tape. Everybody trying to keep a job and a placement, and they go through the daily motion. It's their job to give information or whatever. Well, Annie, she's out there working the table for, I went from on a housing list from like 30 to 3. And so I've been trying to busy myself. I promised Annie I will come here and tell my story.
My name is Brian Gibbons. I'm the Homeless Outreach Supervisor for Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. We do homeless outreach, and we place people in apartments, and then we work to keep people in apartments. So our biggest job is identifying people. So as we speak, because I'm doing that right now today, there's 31 people living outside in tents that we supply them. And we give them sleeping bags, tents. Some of them are in abandoned buildings. A few are in abandoned cars. And so until we get them housing, we deliver food and water. And then when it gets really bad in the summer when it's really hot, or in the winter when it's really cold, we give them some short-term, by that I mean an hour, a day or two housing, and then we have to move them out. And so we move them all around. And then we get them all their IDs and everything they need to apply for housing. And then eventually, which happened 3 times this week, and it's a blessing from God, we get housing for these people. And then the real work begins because they've been homeless for so long. You know, you got to go through the whole process of how you deal with tenants, other tenants, and the landlord, and paying your rent, keeping the noise down. And because the homeless are such kind people, if you get a place for one person, the next day when you go there, they might have 3 or 4 people who are outside sleeping there for the night. And of course that can't happen because they'll get evicted. The United Way is a home run because there's no way we could do this with the funding that we get. And the good news in Waterbury is, you know, all the providers are on the same team. We have the same uniforms on. Clients don't have a place to take a shower, and if they did take a shower, they have no place to wash their clothes. So even if we get them showers, which we did, we bring them to other people's apartments, get them showered, they often have to put on the old clothes, or vice versa. You know, we get them clothes, but they didn't take a shower. So now we have the hospitality center, which, you know, is washer, dryer, showers, and just again, a nice welcoming place. And again, that's, you know, we couldn't do that on our own. Everything else is working. You're not going to starve in this city. There's kind people, there's food banks, but the biggest problem is safe, affordable housing. So through the continuum of care and the 10-year plan, you know, we're getting housing. That's the good news. The bad news is the homeless just keep coming. So we just need more housing, and then we'll be okay.
And I finally got good news one day in May from Tony that I had made it, and the Society of Support was going to help me look for an apartment. And as I recall, I was speechless for a while. I couldn't believe it. It was a red letter.